Welcome, folks. Today we are discussing a fascinating study on predicting home internet availability in Mexico using a predictive score function. It's a really insightful look at the digital divide.
I'm eager to hear about this. What's the core methodology behind this prediction function?
Right. So the researchers used data from Mexico's 2020 population and housing census. They took a random sample of 11,000 households, 5,500 with home internet and 5,500 without. They then employed a linear discriminant function, evaluated by a score function, to predict internet availability based on various socioeconomic and housing characteristics. It's quite a sophisticated approach.
So, what kind of variables were used to make these predictions? Were they just income levels or something more nuanced?
It was much more nuanced than just income, although that was a factor. They looked at a wide range of variables, including housing quality, things like flooring material, type of drainage, garbage disposal, household possessions, like owning a video game console, employment status, education levels, income and location, size of the town or city. They used a multiple correspondence analysis to transform these discrete variables into continuous factors for the discriminant function.
That's a lot of data. How did they validate the accuracy of their prediction function?
They used a two-pronged approach. First, they did an internal validation using bootstrapping with 2,000 resamples. This showed only marginal differences from their initial calculations, suggesting the function was robust. Then, they performed an external validation using the remaining 25% of their sample. Again, the differences were minimal. They also used a ROC curve and a lift chart to assess the function's performance.
And what were the results of these validations? How accurate was the prediction function?
The function showed a sensitivity of 76.9% and a specificity of 20.5%, resulting in a discriminant capacity of 86.7% with a 95% confidence interval. In simpler terms, it correctly identified about 77% of households with internet and, a smaller percentage of those without. The lift chart showed it could correctly predict 78% of cases using only half the data. Overall, pretty good accuracy.
That's impressive. But what are the practical implications of this research? How can this prediction function be used?
That's the really exciting part. This function can be a powerful tool for policymakers and businesses. It can help identify areas and populations lacking internet access, allowing for targeted interventions. For example, it could inform decisions about infrastructure investment, the design of digital inclusion programs, or even marketing strategies for internet service providers. It helps pinpoint where resources are needed most.
I see. So it's not just about predicting who has internet, but also about identifying those who don't and why. But doesn't this approach risk reinforcing existing inequalities? By focusing on predicting who doesn't have internet, based on socioeconomic factors, aren't we just confirming existing biases?
That's a very valid and important point. You're right to highlight the potential for reinforcing existing biases. While the function identifies correlations, it doesn't explain the causal mechanisms behind the digital divide. It's crucial to remember that this is a predictive tool, not a definitive explanation. The results should inform, not dictate, policy interventions. We need to be mindful of avoiding a deterministic interpretation and focus on equitable solutions.
That's a crucial caveat. So, the function is a tool, not a solution in itself. What are the next steps in this research then?
Well, the authors suggest using this function as a pilot test. Further research could explore the causal relationships more deeply, investigate the effectiveness of different interventions, and refine the predictive model with more data and variables. It's a starting point for a much broader conversation about bridging the digital divide in Mexico.
Absolutely. It's a valuable contribution to understanding the complexities of internet access. Thank you for explaining this research so clearly.
You're welcome. And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. We hope this discussion has been insightful. Until next time, goodbye.